this is Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm so excited to share with you our second episode of Obsessed with Caddy and Christy being obsessed with Missy Whidden. So for this episode, the plan was to do a layout that was very much like something Missy would do. So I attempted, and I did little bits and pieces here, but really what ends up happening is I picked little pieces that reminded me of her, and then it turned into my own layout, which is fine. The whole point of doing stuff like this is to be inspired by someone or something and then create your own layout that you love. So the first thing I did here is I picked this piece of pattern paper with the polka dots. It is a summer collection, I believe. I actually think it was that crepe paper, really popular one from 2 summers ago. And then I also had this piece here, Craft Market, excuse me, that's what it's from. I also had a background piece. Now, Missy loves to do layouts where she does her mixed media on her main piece of pattern paper, and then she does border it. And so I was inspired to do that with it. And then this piece of pattern paper itself just reminded me of something she would use because of the colors involved in it. These are the 3 photos I'm working with. Again, not so much something I think Missy would do. I think she tends to use 1 or 2 photos more than a 3 photo. And if she does use 3 photos, they tend to be smaller. So that's where my own taste and flair has gone into this. And I attempted to use that photo of my son's toes, but it's just not going to make it on there. So I laid out my photos and I really liked the way it looked. So I'm like, this is how it's going to be. Now it's time to do some fun mixed media. And if you have seen anything that I've done, mixed media is not actually my forte. I have challenges when I come to do it, but I just did the packaging technique. This is something I see Missy do all the time, and it's pretty easy and effective. And I started out with my mists that I have, and then I pulled out my watercolors so that I had a whole bunch of different shades of blues and teals because of the fact that I wanted to highlight more of the boyish tones to my layout than the fact that there is some pink in this layout, and I wanted it to kind of mix in together correctly. So I'm going to do a whole bunch. I show you a little bit of it and then I go off camera to finish it because, again, I'm not an expert and it takes me quite a while to get everything done the way I want it to be. But I had fun making it, so that's really all that matters. I think I do show you a little bit more. Oh, you know what? I actually think this is the layout I show it all. So you are going to see my whole technique here. So the reason why we have decided that it'd be so fun to start doing this new twist to our series with Missy is Caddy and I both, when we go to do layouts and we do scrap lifts, a lot of times, our first option is we find something that Missy has done recently and we are like, why don't we scrap lift this? And so we decided because that seems to be somewhere that we go and something we do, and whereas Caddy loves to do mixed media and she's so good at it, so it kind of falls into her forte and her what she's good at. So I thought it'd be really fun to just kind of highlight and represent someone that we love in the scrapbooking industry, and we're just so happy she's willing to share all of her work with all of us to see. And I think the next time, if we do the same thing, we want to hear what you think about this series. If you like that we're focusing on a person, or if you'd like us to go back to doing collections, let us know what you're liking about this. But I think if we do go back to doing it this way, we'll pick someone that has a completely different style so you can see the differences and how our layouts turn out with doing stuff like that. So there you can see I finally finished all my mixed media. I let it dry overnight, came back the next day. I took my middle photo, which is the photo of my son, and these are all photos taken within the first 3 days of him being born. And I used white tissue paper to highlight him, and then I used the pink to highlight myself and him, and blue to highlight Sean and him. I think that pretty much speaks for itself as to why I decided to do that. And I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to place it, because I did trim my photos down a little bit, but they were covering up so much of the pretty mixed media I did. I was just trying to find a way to balance it and make it fit where I wanted it to. I originally have it up high, and then I'm adding all these little bits and pieces here. But what ends up happening is I do move the photos down just a little bit so that I can put my title at the top, and then it kind of helps off balance it. So now you can see I've moved it down just a little bit, not too much, maybe 1.5 inches there. And that gives room for the little bit of embellishments. I am using flare on this layout because that is something Missy does all the time and I struggle with it. So I got 3 more pieces of flare used up, which I was really excited about. And I'm doing the thing that I love most, which is mixing my letter alphas to make the words all be different. I did paint the word days with my shimmers because I love it and it was the perfect color. So that's kind of a handmade painting job on the word days. And I am also doing the awesome thing where you wrap string around the flare. That's a very Missy thing to do as well. So as you can see, I am doing little bits and pieces here where it's things that I know Missy does, and it kind of helps represent her style and what I think she would do on a layout. But I think the layout all on its own is very much more something I would do. So I took little bits and pieces of inspiration from her and then just kind of wrapped it up with my own. So what you're going to see is I add a little bit more, I play a little bit more with some moving around of things, and then you're going to see the close-ups with the finishing touches. So thanks everyone so much for watching.